The inspiration for this lesson is Brendan Wenzel's book, They All Saw a Cat. The first thing that I'm going to do is a little pre-planning. So I'm going to draw a cat body. This is talking about the head and the shoulders. Now, we learned in the book that everybody sees cats differently. So some of you might think of a cat and think of a nice big round head and the shoulders kind of coming down here. We're making a portrait of the cat, so it's just the shoulders and the head. Others might think of the cat tall and skinny, so it might have a big oval on top and two parts that come down for the shoulders. Then you're going to draw other ideas like the eyes, the nose, the ears, the mouth, and any extras. So that might be stripes or whiskers or eyebrows or the color around its neck. Come up with at least 2 ideas for each request. Now that we have some brainstorming done, it's time to do a pre-plan. A pre-plan is drawing your idea before you put it on your final piece of paper. So, I'm going to look at the 2 cat bodies that I created and choose one of them to make. I can also alter this to make it just a little bit different. I'm going to try to think really big here so that I fill up my space. So the head is really big like this, and the shoulders go all the way from the head down to the base. You notice that I have changed my pre-plan just a little bit. I went with a big round head, but I added some fur on the sides. That's okay. You can change your pre-plan just a little bit. I'm going to continue to add eyes, nose, mouth, and so forth until my cat has a lot of beautiful detail to it. Now that I have my pre-plan completed, I can move on to my final piece of paper. You're noticing that I'm using a Sharpie marker for this. I'm simply doing that so that you can see it really well. You're probably going to want to draw with a pencil first and then add the Sharpie line on top to outline it. As you can see, I have completed my final piece of paper off from my pre-plan, and I did make some changes again. It's sometimes important to take a look, decide if that's exactly how you want it for your pre-plan, and then for your final, make different decisions. That's okay to do. For the coloring of your cat, you can use any method you would like. You could use markers or crayons, but today I'm going to be using tempera cakes. Alright, we have our brush, we have rinsing water, and we have a paper towel. We're ready to paint. You can use traditional colors on your cat, or you can veer off a little bit and use some non-traditional colors. So maybe my cat, instead of being like a black cat or orange cat, I'm going to use turquoise. Now I'm loading my brush, so that means that I'm gently putting my brush into the tempera cakes and kind of going around in a circle. And I'm going to bring it right over onto my cat. Now when I'm painting this, I want very even strokes. So I'm being gentle with my brush. The bristles of my brush are continuing to stay the same direction. I never want to press down really hard. And I only want to paint over this one pass at a time. So now that my paper is wet, I'm not going to keep going in that section. I'm moving on to a new section. Once it's dry, we can possibly add another coat, but at this point we don't want to keep going in the same place. The paper might end up ripping just a little bit. So be gentle with your brush. Be thoughtful with the way that you put your paint onto your paper. As you're painting, if you notice that the paper is starting to get too much water on it, your brush has too much water on it, simply take your paper towel, Dab that part up. We never want puddles to gather on our paper. And there you go. We have a cat completely covered with paint. The only thing that we're missing is the whites of the eyes, and we really do want to leave the whites white. But the rest of the cat can be painted. You could even add some design or details on here with marker or crayon once it's dry. It's up to you. But I'm pretty happy with this one. I'm going to call it complete.